Good evening. Let's talk again a little about indoctrination. Hi, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and I go to the library a lot with my daughter. I like to encourage her to find books and read books and find interesting things, because the library is a great place with all kinds of information and all kinds of interesting things, and generally speaking, it's a great place to hang out and explore. Well, I let her pick out books, and I encourage her to get as many books as possible. On average, we have 2 dozen, at least. Anyways, I was reading her this little book, this gem, If I Were a Mouse. Seems like a very innocuous book. And really, it is. I didn't read the preface, and maybe I should have, because it is a child's imagination. What fantastic adventures might unfold if he were one of God's many creatures. So, had I read that, I may have been prepared a little. So I'm reading the book, and If I Were a Mouse, it's a cute book. If I were a mouse, just the mouse I could be, I would make my house in a hole in a tree, and think if he's an owl, and then a squirrel, and a cat, and all, for a bunch of different animals. And it's kind of cute because each animal story feeds into being the next kind of animal. But I get to the very end, and he goes back to basically being a child. And it's, but come every night I would curl up in my bed, and there a small child would scratch my head. We both would be happy, and happy could be. So what if that sleepy-eyed child was me? And I turned the page, unprepared, to I am a child, and God made me so. And nothing is better for these feelings I know, that God is my Father, Creator, and friend. And He makes me able to dream and pretend that I am a cat, or a wee chickadee, or a squirrel, or an owl, or a mouse in the tree. I thank God, the Father, for making me. Now you can imagine I got to this page, and I got as far as I am a child, and I was, really? Gonna sneak that one up on me? A child's imagination is not created by God. In fact, if anything, the concept of God inhibits a child's imagination, because it gives the child the answers and tells the child, you don't need to think about this because here are all the answers for you. You don't have to think. You can just believe whatever the shit we tell you. This is indoctrination. You know what fucking atheist indoctrination is? Science proof. Science fact. Science actuality. Actual information. Actually telling a child to be imaginative and to explore the world. That is atheist indoctrination. This is Christian indoctrination. And if you can't tell, this made me a bit angry. Not that the library had it, and really I should have been prepared. But there should be a big sign here that says, warning, this is a God book. Because it was a nice little story up to that last page. And having to sit there at my child's side and all of a sudden start to stumble on this nonsense. And I mean, I'm already very good at making up my own stories. She often points out to me that I read a lot more on the page than what's actually there, because I add to the story, because I use my imagination. And I was able to go around this. But it annoyed the hell out of me. And God made me so. What a load of crap. This is indoctrination. There is no atheist indoctrination. Giving actual information and telling a child to actually figure things out is what atheists do. Not tell some kid some bullshit. God made you that way. Because, God had nothing to do with it. Because God was made up by people. Just like that book. So, don't give me any bullshit on atheist indoctrination. Christians, Muslims, well, maybe not Buddhists, but religion indoctrinates. Religion tells children this nice little story, and then they throw in, God did it. God is your creator. God is your maker. Listen to God. That is indoctrination. Anyways, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and I will not indoctrinate my child. She can believe in God if she wants to, but I'm not telling her that nonsense.